How Sun looks in other planets in solar system. The Sun is the center of the solar system and the primary source of light and heat for all the planets in the system. However, the appearance of the Sun as seen from different planets can vary significantly due to factors such as distance, atmospheric conditions, and the planet's own rotation. In this topic, we will explore how the Sun appears from various planets in the solar system and the unique features that make each view different. Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, and it orbits very quickly, completing one orbit in just 88 Earth days. Because of its proximity to the Sun appears much larger and brighter from Mercury than it does from any other planet in our solar system. Additionally, because Mercury has no atmosphere, there is no scattering of light, so the Sun appears more yellow than it does from Earth. On Mercury, the Sun rises and sets twice during each day because of the planet's slow rotation. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun and is approximately 58 million kilometers away. From Mercury, the Sun appears more than 10 times brighter than it does from Earth, making it difficult to observe without specialized equipment. Venus. Venus is the second planet from the Sun, and it has a thick atmosphere that scatters light. As a result, the Sun appears less distinct and more diffuse on Venus than it does from Earth. Additionally, because of Venus's thick atmosphere, it experiences a greenhouse effect that makes it the hottest planet in our solar system, with surface temperatures that can exceed 800 degrees Fahrenheit. On Venus, the Sun rises in the west and sets in the east because of the planet's retrograde rotation. Venus is the second planet from the Sun and is approximately 108 million kilometers away. From Venus, the Sun appears about 1.9 times brighter than it does from Earth, making it extremely bright and difficult to observe directly. Earth. From Earth, the Sun appears as a bright, white, circular disk in the sky. The Sun's light is scattered by Earth's atmosphere, which is why the sky appears blue during the day. Because Earth is at just the right distance from the Sun, it is also the only planet in our solar system that can support life as we know it. On Earth, the Sun appears to rise in the east and set in the west because of the planet's rotation. Earth is the third planet from the Sun and is approximately 150 million kilometers away. From Earth, the Sun appears at its normal brightness and can be safely observed with the naked eye. Mars. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun, and it appears smaller and dimmer from Mars than it does from Earth. However, Mars has a thin atmosphere, so the sunlight scatters less than it does on Venus, and the Sun appears more distinct. Additionally, because of Mars's thin atmosphere, it is the planet in our solar system that is most similar to Earth in terms of temperature and climate. On Mars, the Sun appears to rise in the east and set in the west because of the planet's rotation. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun and is approximately 228 million kilometers away. From Mars, the Sun appears about 2.4 times dimmer than it does from Earth, making it less intense but still very bright. Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, and it is much further away from the Sun than Earth. As a result, the Sun appears much smaller and dimmer from Jupiter. However, Jupiter has a thick atmosphere, so the sunlight scatters, causing the Sun to appear larger and more diffuse than it does from Earth. Additionally, Jupiter's atmosphere is composed primarily of hydrogen and helium, which gives it a yellowish color. On Jupiter, the Sun appears as a small, bright dot in the sky. Jupiter is the fifth planet from the Sun and is approximately 778 million kilometers away. From Jupiter, the Sun appears about 27 times dimmer than it does from Earth, due to its distance and the fact that Jupiter has a very thick atmosphere. Saturn. Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun and is even further away from it than Jupiter. As a result, the Sun appears even smaller and dimmer from Saturn. However, Saturn's atmosphere is even thicker than Jupiter's, causing the sunlight to scatter even more, so the Sun appears even more diffuse and less distinct. Additionally, Saturn's rings can also block some of the Sun's light, creating interesting patterns of light and shadow on the planet's surface. On Saturn, the Sun appears as a small, bright dot in the sky. Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun and is approximately 1.4 billion kilometers away. From Saturn, the Sun appears about 83 times dimmer than it does from Earth, due to its distance and the fact that Saturn is surrounded by a thick layer of clouds. Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun and is so far from it that the Sun appears as a small, bright dot in the sky. Because Uranus's axis of rotation is tilted at an angle of 98 degrees, it experiences extreme seasons with long periods of darkness and daylight. Uranus's atmosphere is composed of hydrogen, helium, and methane, which gives it a blue-green color. On Uranus, the Sun appears as a small, bright dot in the sky. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun and is approximately 2.9 billion kilometers away. From Uranus, the Sun appears about 360 times dimmer than it does from Earth, due to its great distance and Uranus's thick atmosphere. Neptune. Neptune is the eighth planet from the Sun and is even further away than Uranus. From Neptune, the Sun appears as a small, bright dot, and because of Neptune's thick atmosphere, the Sun appears even more diffuse and less distinct. Neptune's atmosphere is composed of hydrogen, helium, and methane, which gives it a blue color. Because of its distance from the Sun, Neptune receives very little sunlight and is one of the coldest planets in our solar system. Neptune is the eighth planet from the Sun and is approximately 4.5 billion kilometers away. From Neptune, the Sun appears about 900 times dimmer than it does from Earth, due to its distance and the fact that Neptune has a thick atmosphere. It's important to note that these distances are constantly changing due to the orbits of the planets, so these numbers are approximate. Additionally, the actual brightness of the Sun as seen from each planet will vary depending on factors such as atmospheric conditions and the angle of the planet's axis. However, this should give you a good idea of the relative distances and brightness levels for each planet.